Welcome into Snow The Goalie radio here on WBCB. We are live in Chickie's and Pete's in Malvern, Pennsylvania, a stone's throw from the Joy household, and we are excited to be here tonight. Anthony SanFilippo is here. Bundy is on assignment because, of course, the Philadelphia Flyers play tonight on the road. He's got to do pregame radio, and it is a bit of a hike.
This one would have been tough for him to, well, not even tough. It would have been impossible for him to make it back in time to do pregame radio before the game tonight. So that's why we have no Bundy here. We were originally supposed to have Jason Martinez pop out. I had announced that the other night that he was going to join us tonight. Unfortunately, Jason's a little under the weather, so he's going to reschedule with us and come join us from one of the shows in February.
There we go.
So we'll get Jason in a couple weeks. So it's just
we send our well wishes to the wonderful man. I saw him up at a press row the other day, and I was like, "Yeah, he's looking a little bit under the weather."
Yeah, he's not feeling great.
A lot of people out there sick these days.
Yeah, and you got
a lot of people sick of the Flyers right now after a 4-0 loss.
And Jason's got to be a little bit more careful. Obviously, with his health situation.
Okay, yeah,
right. So, I told him. I said, no, don't rush it. Don't try and come out of the house. Stay home, do what you got to do. We'll see you down the line.
So it's an old school duo.
Snow the Goalie. Old school Snow the Goalie.
Old school. Should I yell out an "Oh yes"? And maybe we'll do that.
Yeah, there you go.
But anyway, we're here in Chickie's and Pete's in Malvern. Come on out if you're in the general area. It's not a very far drive, especially if you're getting off the turnpike. Maybe you're at Paoli Hospital. Maybe you're at the Wegmans, just down the road, and you're looking for a place to go. Come talk some puck with us. We'll have a blast tonight. Now, and, it's been quite the eventful week, I would say, since we last met down in Northeast Philly for Snow the Goalie Radio. I mean, since then, we watched the Flyers get 5 points on a road trip. We watched them decimate the Colorado Avalanche by a score of 7-3. We then watched them come home and in a game that they could have theoretically taken third place in the Metropolitan Division, gone level on points with the New York Islanders. You know what the Philadelphia Flyers did. Coming off that 7-3 drubbing of the Colorado Avalanche, they puked all over themselves, and they got shut out 4-0. And this is where we're at. A consistently inconsistent team.
Yeah, they're a bit schizophrenic, Russ, in my mind. He's ordering food. So I'll be talking to myself here, guys, or talking to you only because Russ isn't paying attention. The Flyers are a bit of a schizophrenic team right now. You have the highest of the highs, yes, which is, beating Colorado in Colorado, not just beating them 7-3.
It was a biblical beatdown.
In regulation.
Yes.
Right? Only the second team to win a game in Colorado in regulation all year. And so you come off that road trip, you're feeling pretty good. We stemmed the tide. We had that 6-game losing streak, but look, we righted the ship, and it was Sam Ersson of all people leading the charge, right? And you have that great road trip.
Big
you come
Sam.
home, an opportunity to get back into a playoff spot, and nobody shows up.
I mean, total no-show game.
Like it was.
Unacceptable no-show game.
Complete and utter no-show.
Your highest-paid guys, no-show. Bunch of your younger guys, no-show.
Yeah, it was everybody.
Sam Ersson, I mean, listen, if you really want to re-rack what happened on Monday night, the perfect microcosm of that game is how the first goal was scored. The Flyers go on the Pico power play. Puck gets dumped in down the other end of the ice. Two Flyers, not exactly coasting, but certainly not busting it, getting back. They don't end up with the puck. It ends up in the slot. Perfectly beautiful set-up shot. Sam Ersson has no chance on the play.
Yeah.
That, to me, was the moment where you go, oh, that kind of feels like that might be it. That might be all.
Yeah, well, it definitely, it's funny because Rick Tocchet said afterwards, he said it kind of felt like that's when the guys stopped playing.
Yeah, the first sign of adversity.
Yeah, it was, but that's rare for this team, right? Let's be honest.
This season.
Yes, we've talked about it this season, how they've been a good come-from-behind team, but it was one of those situations where it was like, yeah, just everything went away at that point. Like all energy went away, like all the 50-50s. The Islanders were playing a slow it down game, a slog game,
yep,
and the Flyers fell right into the trap and played that game. And it just didn't work out for them. And it was a bad game. So
it wasn't as if it was a lack of a crowd. There was a crowd in the building then. We actually said it was a bigger crowd than expected.
Bigger than expected.
Especially since Philadelphia still isn't dug out of the out of the snow.
We'll talk about that later.
Mayor Parker, where are you at?
I had an experience in South Philly today.
Tell the people about your experience
now.
Really quick. Give context.
I had a dentist appointment today down in South Philadelphia and drove down.
Why is your dentist in Philly?
It's because my wife is from South Philly.
What does that have to do with you having a dentist? You live in the burbs.
So
get a dentist in the suburbs.
No, the dentist that I used to go to when I had my kids going to the dentist and things like that we don't go to that dentist anymore. That dentist doesn't really exist anymore. So I was looking for a new dentist a few years back, and Maria's like, "Oh, let's go to my dentist." So I go to her dentist, who I like. I like her dentist a lot, but it's in South Philly. Mm-hmm. So I go down there. And it was like Armageddon in South Philly. There's not other than Broad Street, nothing's plowed. Nothing.
Yeah, not great.
You couldn't park. I drove around Methodist Hospital 10 times, couldn't find a parking spot. Finally, I parked in the middle of Broad Street. Like the middle of the street I parked. Like everybody else in South Philly does. Yep. But that's what I had to do because there was nowhere to park. It was crazy. Anyway.
Thank you. I got the shrimp. We're good.
Russ is happy.
Usually the shrimp.
Russ has his food now. He's happy.
Let's see. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
I thought about doing a timed trial here. Maybe I'll eat these when you're doing the Chickies and Pete's read, and we'll see how many of them I can get through.
See if you can house it during the read.
That's 12 shrimp, though, and they're pretty big.
Yeah, but I remember
they don't skimp here at Chickies and Pete's. If you've never gotten the cold shrimp, remember, Bundy and I have started going on this together. We do the 12 cold shrimp. Then we deviate. I go with the crab fries. He gets the bowl of clam chowder. He gets a pizza. Usually I get a grilled chicken sandwich. So we are a little bit different, but there are things that unify us.
There you go.
Yeah.
The shrimp. And you and I kind of pick on the fries for a little bit. That's our unifier.
This is what's going to keep me from getting cranky today.
That's good.
Crab fries.
That's good.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
So you went into the city, went to the dentist.
Yeah.
It was anarchy.
It was complete chaos down there. Yeah. Complete and utter chaos in the city. So.
I'll tell you what, it was chaos on Flyers Twitter and Flyers Facebook the last few days after that 4-0.
When is it not?
Yeah, I got to tell you. I know that I tend to be a little bit more online than everybody else. I get it. I understand it. It's part of the gig, right?
Yeah.
There's a Flyers Facebook group right now called Flyers Talk. Every single morning when I wake up, I have my head on the pillow. I open up my phone. I look at Twitter really quick. I see some, crazy people responding to tweets. And then I go to Facebook. And there's always somebody who's like, sell the team. Tell Comcast to sell the team. That's always one. And then the second one is usually like, say Carl Grundstrom. There'll be somebody who decides that Carl Grundstrom is the Antichrist and they need to get rid of him. And they go on this long diatribe and it's like, you need help. Like you random Facebook user need genuine help for your anger issues and also your misplaced anger. But I will tell you that the anger on that Facebook group and on Flyers Twitter this week, I think was actually quite warranted. Insofar as Monday was a no-show. And we could sit here, we could have a nice conversation about Owen Tippett's hat trick against the Avalanche. We could have a conversation about Matt Michkov's probably best and most impactful game last week. But Monday's loss was such a drubbing and such a pathetic performance that I think it effectively wiped everything away. It wiped all the goodwill away from what we saw on that road trip. Do you agree or do you disagree, Counsel?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely wiped away because getting 5 out of 6 points on the road trip saved your season.
Yeah.
And then you had an opportunity to keep it going. And look, they're not going to win every game, right? Yep. I mean, we know this. But that was one that if you sit there and say, all right, this week, pick one game that you can lose. It wasn't the Islanders game.
No.
Right? That was the one you couldn't lose.
Right.
It was the least.
It's a 4-point game.
Well, I mean, tonight's a 4-point game too against Columbus. But it's not as important as the Islanders game was because your Islanders are a team you are chasing for a spot in the playoffs. So that game was the game. Yes. So that almost undid everything that you did well on the road trip. So to me, that was why it was such a bad game. Now, can you recover? Can you beat Columbus tonight and Boston tomorrow and everybody starts to feel a little bit better about it? Sure.
Maybe.
Absolutely. But why put yourself behind the 8 ball and put yourself in a position where you have to get every one of those wins and not give yourself some breathing room? That's the dilemma there. So.
When the puck hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's the Flyers. When they go on the road and turn into a toad, that's the Flyers.
All right. Do you want to give them the phone number? Put it up on the screen so people can call in and
7-3. Couldn't be me. Let's go get shut out in Philly.
Doesn't even listen. Do you want to give them the number and put it up on the screen?
Yeah, we'll do it.
So people can call into the show?
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it live because I think there are people that are going to want to have a conversation.
I'm sure there are people that want to talk about it. Let's give them the opportunity to do so.
You can get in on the phones if you want. 215-949-3232. Again, that is 215-949-3232. You can join us on the phones as we are coming to you live from Chickie's Pete's in Malvern, Pennsylvania. A great Chickie's Pete's. I actually think this one, not because it's the one that's closest to me.
Right.
I think that the setup of this one is among my favorite. It might be my favorite one that we do shows from.
It's spacious.
It is.
That's what I like about this one.
Spacious.
It's very spacious.
The bar. It's a nice bar.
It's a great bar.
Good outside area as well.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a lovely spot. Nice wall of TVs. Who doesn't love a nice wall of TVs? All right, let's have a little conversation. Can we have a conversation? Can we be honest here?
Okay.
I'm going to posit something to you.
Yeah.
And I know that there's going to be a friction point.
Yeah.
I know that there will be.
Yeah.
But I'm prepared to go there.
Okay.
Dan Vladar came off injured reserve, right? He's off IR today.
Yeah, he's playing tonight, which I don't understand, by the way.
Yeah. Explain. Go ahead, elaborate.
Was this what you were going to say?
Well, this is part of it. Go ahead.
Well, I guess I understand their thinking in that maybe that it's basically buying him extra days to say, play tonight, be off tomorrow, and then play Saturday. You get 2 days rest after your first game back from an injury. So I guess health-wise, I understand it. But you're kind of at a point where, because of the way you lost on Monday, where I sit there and say, isn't it more important to have him play against Boston tomorrow, who's the better team? I know Columbus is playing really good hockey right now, but wouldn't you rather him play against Boston than
I think so.
Than Columbus and give Ersson one more game tonight? And then
I also think that, you think about Monday night. Tocchet said Vladar might have been healthy enough to back up.
Yes.
On Monday. He was healthy. He may have been healthy enough to back up on Monday.
Yeah.
But then 2 days later, not only is he not backing up, but he's starting the game. That makes me question a few things. I don't love that. And as he's coming off this injury, I'm not saying that it changes everything about like the game day preparation and such.
No, I guess the thought process there was we didn't want him to play that game. We wanted to give him 2 more days. Why activate him and then have to throw him in if things get ugly?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, that's what that meant. Like, so yeah. I don't put a lot of stock into the fact that he didn't dress on Monday and that he's starting tonight. I just think it's more about the matchups that's where my confusion is. I don't understand why they feel like this is a better option and to go with Ersson against Boston.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time that I've questioned openly some decisions of the lineup of the coaching staff this year. I don't fully understand what they're doing, but okay. Maybe you're right. Like, maybe it has to do with a bigger gap in between games. I don't know. I worry. We have seen in the past this team rides a goalie, and then there's an injury, and then they maybe rush a guy back, or they're not as careful as they should be, and then there's a re-injury, a re-aggravation. I don't know. Do we know what the Vladar injury was? Was that ever disclosed?
It's undisclosed, but it's a groin. I mean, everybody can tell.
And so there you go.
Yeah.
Like, of all the things to hurt, not a great thing to hurt. We saw this with Ersson last year. He came back. How many times did he end up on IR? 3 times? Or he ended up on there twice?
He ended up on IR twice.
But he ended up missing extended time, 3 or 4 stints.
He had 3 times, a third time where he didn't end up on IR, but he missed a few games because of the re-aggravation of it last year.
Yeah. So, of all the injuries to come back from, this is a tough one. So maybe the extra days is the argument. I don't know. Here's where I think there's a friction point. You ready?
Go ahead.
So I did a little bit of soul searching since Monday.
You did soul searching?
I did. On Monday, post game, I had a little bit of a diatribe about how it's frustrating that it feels like we're having many of the same conversations right now that we have every year around this time, regardless of coach, front office, core players, all of it. And I started thinking to myself, I know that Dan Vladar has been a critical part of the season. In the first half of the year, Vladar was the MVP of this team, hands down, no questions asked.
Yeah.
But what I've had to try to reconcile now is how much of Vladar playing significantly better than he ever has in his career, already playing more games this year than he's ever played in an entire NHL season, how much has he covered up for the deficiencies on this team?
Well, that's what a goalie's job is, right?
But the thing that I'm trying to reconcile is if that is the case, I don't see how you pull the nose up on this and get back to the first half of the season kind of play. Because I don't think that Vladar's play in the first half of the season was going to be sustainable over the entire season. And now that he's coming off this injury, and you know how guys are. Sometimes when there's an injury, they try to favor things. They try not to get hurt again. That might be in the back of his mind. I now worry that it is almost a foregone conclusion. They will not be able to reach that same level of success that they had early in the season.
Well, I mean, it's easy to say that. Like, you could say that, you could predict that. We won't know until we get to watch it. I mean, but we did say, if you recall, and I think it goes back to when Tyson Forster first got hurt, said, that's going to be an injury that's going to hurt them. Mm-hmm. And it, in a lot of ways, it has. Mm-hmm. It didn't right away because Vladar was covering it up. That's what we said. And we said at the time, Flyers can't afford any more injuries. Most importantly, they cannot afford Dan Vladar getting hurt. That was the thing. We said that it was I think that goes back to mid-November, even before Forster. But we really hit it home after Forster got hurt. Like, the one guy that they could ill afford to lose was Dan Vladar.
Correct.
And then they did. And it's not surprising that things went haywire. And, it's interesting. It was funny, and we're going to get to something else a little bit later on. That this is the reason I was looking this up earlier today. But I went back and watched a video that I shot. It was my first viral video.
Your first one? My
first viral video that I shot in the Flyers locker room.
Okay.
Of Ilya Bryzgalov after losing 9-8 to the Winnipeg Jets when he was just god awful.
Yeah.
And he took all the responsibility. I mean, he was the one who said that it was all my fault. I stunk. I have no confidence. I'm lost in the woods, right? That whole thing. And somebody, I think it was Tim Panaccio, asked him a question about the defense in front of him, because my recollection from that game was defense wasn't good either.
Yeah. And
Bryzgalov said, but my job as a goalie is to stop the puck. I couldn't even stop the simple ones. So if I can't stop the simple ones, what do you think that the players in front of me, maybe that doesn't give them confidence that I'm going to be good enough, and they try and do something that they shouldn't do.
Correct.
And it hurts their game.
Yep.
And I thought, well, that's the most insightful thing that maybe Ilya Bryzgalov ever said. Like, he was a goofball.
That was more insightful than universal human to speak.
like in the moment, I really didn't think about it, I guess, or maybe I don't remember thinking about it. But looking back on it all these years later, I went back and said, wow, that's pretty insightful stuff from Briz.
Sure.
It's got to be the same thing with Ersson or Kolosov, right? And so maybe Vladar getting back in, and it's again, maybe, I could be wrong, maybe Vladar getting back in gets them to get back to playing the structured defensive game. Because keep in mind, what's the one thing that has abandoned them most?
Structure.
The defensive structure.
Yeah, they don't have a structure.
Their defensive structure.
They're an amoeba right now.
Was what killed them. It got so bad that, like, Cam York was going to be playing on the third pair, and they were going to move Risto up. Then Risto had the arm thing and had to miss a few games, and now he's back. So like, maybe with Vladar back in, you'll see better defensive structure. That's what they're hoping for.
Yeah.
And if not, if the defensive structure still sucks, and Vladar can't be, a 2.3 goals against or 2.4 goals against goalie, then it's going to go south real fast.
And therein lies part of the problem, right? I mean, it is expecting a lot. It's expecting way more than a lot of what Vladar.
Well, no, it would be expecting a lot if they continue to play poor defensively in front of him.
Yes.
Then it would be expecting a lot. But if they play the way they're supposed to play in front of him,
the way that they did the first half of the season.
Then it wouldn't be expecting a lot out of Vladar. Do we have a call?
It really feels, maybe. I feel like it's at least somewhat worrisome that so much of the season is going to come down to whether or not a career backup goalie is going to be able to be like a top 10 netminder in this league. We are being told that Jordan is on the line. First call of the night. Jordan, I don't know if you can hear us. If you can, hello, welcome.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
sure
we got
can.
you.
Awesome. Just wanted to call in and first of all, love the show. Been listening for a while now.
Thanks, bud.
Love everything that you guys do.
Where are you calling from?
South Philly.
There we go.
There we go. So you know exactly what I'm talking about with the chaos with the snow down there.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy. I had a beer league game last night, and my car wasn't going to be able to get out. Luckily, my sister was able to come pick me up, but even then, it took way too long to get back to Broad Street, and I live a block off of it. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Chaos. All right, go ahead. I'll let you ask your question, but glad somebody can confirm it for him.
Yeah, so anyway, the point I kind of wanted to make, it was less of a question, and I know you kind of mentioned it, but I think, with everything kind of going on with this team and us as a fan base being so focused on what we're going to need to become a contending team, I think we've, kind of discounted or downplayed the impact that Tyson Forrester has been having on this team.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I went through and looked at it. Of course, more recently, Vladar's injury has had a big impact as well. But, I initially kind of had this thought a few weeks ago, tried to put it out of my mind, thinking I was maybe going back to some Matt Niskanen retiring cope. But in any event, I looked at the stats. The Flyers this season through 51 games have 57 points for .559 win percentage. Forrester played 20 games this season. There was that week in November he missed games. During that week, we went 1-1-2 against some not top dogs in the league. Before he got injured, we had a .65 win percentage, had 26 points through 20 games. He got injured in that Penguins game. We're not going to count that, and I'll get to that in a second. But since then, we've been 12-11-7 for a .517 win percentage in 30 games. Like, when I think about this team, we've come from behind so many times. We need a guy who can kind of turn that energy around, and Forrester was one of those guys. We only have so many, and, when he's playing on a line with Cates and Brink, he's really the only guy that can do that himself. I think that, especially when you marry it with Vladar being out and not being able to come back, I think is having a huge impact, to say nothing of what he could do on the power play. And, in terms of coming from behind, look at the Penguins game he got hurt in. He got hurt less than a minute after scoring a goal. His goal made it 1-1. We lost that game 5-1.
Yep.
So, all this to say, not having a number one center, not having a number one D, certainly, big picture, huge issues. Our veterans not stepping up, certainly a big issue now and big picture. But, I think it's more so for that it's contending teams. And I just think, Forrester's injury or the impact that he has on this team has just kind of become an afterthought because of our bigger picture issues. Yeah. And I don't think it's gotten enough attention.
No,
well, thanks for calling.
Yeah, thanks for calling, Jordan. That's a great call, and everything that he said is right.
Well, I mean, it's
spot on.
Yeah,
and it's just it's no secret that. And look, they weren't.
Forster was the guy who seemed the most poised. He was on pace for a 40-goal season. Was he going to get there? Who knows? But that is a guy that is clearly one of your best goal-scoring threats on a team that doesn't have many goal-scoring threats.
Yes.
That was always going to have a cascading effect on the rest of the lineup.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look,
and being able to kind of like stem that tide for a 15-game stretch is one thing, but having to do it for 50 games or however many
for sure
is very different.
And I'll point out, like, this is where the biggest impact has been. Where's Noah Cates and Bobby Brink been since Tyson Forrester got hurt?
They've had moments.
Like Brink's had a couple moments.
Yeah.
Noah Cates has kind of fallen off the page.
Like he's non-existent.
That's how good Forster is. Mm-hmm. Like, and when I say he's arguably their best forward, like, I could make the argument, and if you asked me today who the best forward on the Flyers is when healthy, it's Tyson Forster, and I say that ahead of everybody else on this team. Everyone else.
Kind of an indictment on some other things.
Well, no, but it's not an indictment because I think he's that guy. I think he is that good of a player all around. I mean, it's not just about the scoring. The scoring's great, but he's always in the right position. He's good on the forecheck. He's good in his own zone.
He's a very strong overall forward.
He's a really, really good player, and he's still so young.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, I look at that and
but
say,
he's now had some injury concerns.
that's the
which
biggest.
Which is where you really start to worry.
That's the red flag. The red flag is the injuries.
If
right?
you cannot be available,
yes.
It doesn't matter how much talent you have. It doesn't matter how well-rounded of a player you are. If you're
right.
not in the lineup, none of it matters.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but that's why.
And the nature of the injury too is also a concern because we've watched. It's the shoulder. Right?
Well, this is the second time he's had that shoulder injury, and then he had the elbow infection.
Yeah.
Which was in different, moving around the arm a little bit. So you wonder. I mean, there's been no report, and I'm not reporting it, but you do wonder if there's a relation, if there's a correlation of some kind.
Regardless, there have been injuries. 2 to the shoulders, not good. I mean, we've seen with Jamie Drysdale, too. I mean, that pretty much cost him a year of his career out west. Yeah. And then even last year, he took a shot into the boards, and he missed extended time. So shoulders aren't a great thing to miss time for.
No.
And here's the other factor to him being hurt. I'm not saying that the Flyers would have been open to trading him, right? But when you are in the midst of potential trade negotiations for somebody who could ultimately help this team short and long term, you know that he's one of the guys that would be targeted. I do wonder if this injury maybe puts a little bit of doubt or devalues the player at least enough that he's no longer seen as like the centerpiece of the deal or the second most important piece because another front office is cognizant of the fact that he's had some injuries.
Yeah, I think in the moment you're probably right. In the moment, but I think that if he can come back and he can have a healthy year next year, then do teams then look at him and say,
then they're back in on him.
Now we're back in, right?
Yeah.
So like I don't think it's a lost opportunity. I think it's like let's wait and see if he can stay healthy. Then great, then that's a possibility down the line. I want to watch Martone play at this level.
Yeah.
On the same team with Forster, with Mishkov back at his actual level that he could be at. Then I think you might start to see where guys fit elsewhere on the roster, and then say maybe we can move one of them.
Well, let me ask you the Martone question.
And get the player that you're looking for.
We have had this presumption much of the season. Flyers will be in contention for a playoff spot. We'll have an eye on the Michigan State season and their postseason. And there's a non-zero chance that Martone could end up getting a look with this team. And if they make the playoffs, they'd probably look to have Martone on that playoff roster. If they fall out of it,
they probably don't burn the year. If they fall out of it, they probably don't burn the year.
Did anybody make Porter Martone a promise that he's going to play at the end of the season?
No. I mean, you can't do that because he's in college.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You can't say that because that would be tampering with a collegiate player, like his eligibility. I mean, everyone knows he's only playing 1 year at Michigan State, but you technically can't do it, right? You know what I'm saying? So no, there would be no promise.
Well, not even a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I mean, certainly has never happened before that a player might have been under the impression that keep in mind. Let's say join the team late in the season.
If Michigan State goes to the national
and then
championship,
not join, and then
if Michigan State goes to the national championship game,
yeah.
There are only 2 Flyers games after that.
Yeah.
Only 2.
Yep.
So if you're out of it,
I mean,
there's no reason to make them play those 2 games. Burn a year. For what purpose? Right?
The Gauthier principle. Okay.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. It is wild how different the conversation is from where we were like 3 weeks ago.
Well, I mean, again, this is what happens when you
go to a tailspin.
Well, you don't. Well, yes, but you also don't have the depth, right? I mean, look, he's not a big player. He's not an impactful player. But have you noticed how much the fourth line has struggled with Rodrigo Abels out of the lineup?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying that line was going well.
It was, and remember, there was a conversation about are they going to try to go out and get a veteran to replace him?
Well, yes.
And then it didn't happen. You need to stop messing with this table. There was somebody in the comments who was like, hold on a second. Are you guys messing with the table? Ant leans on the table.
I lean on the table. It's unbalanced table.
Lean
what are you
on
going
me.
to do? I'm trying to keep my foot on the bottom of the table. Yeah. But yeah, here's the thing, and this is what's going to be most interesting to me, Russ. 5 games left before the Olympic break, and then I think it's 4 before the trade deadline once they come back. So there's really only 9 games before the trade deadline. in my mind, if you're trying to make a playoff push this year, right?
Which we're going to get to because somebody said it publicly.
Yeah, and let's
we'll get to that a little bit later.
Let's be realistic about what you would look to add. Okay, everybody's going to say, "Well, 1C, 1D." You're not getting that at the deadline.
Sure,
you're just not. Unless you're willing to give up everything. Like I saw somebody mentioned Robert Thomas. The ask for Robert Thomas right now is so ridiculous.
Sure,
that there's not a team that would pay it. I promise you that. Now, could that number could that price come down and change things before the deadline? Of course it can. But in the moment, no shot. But what would you realistically need to really go at it? You need a middle
intervention.
A middle six center. Okay. A left. You laugh. I'm just saying, what's going to be available at the deadline?
No, I laugh because middle six center is part of the rationale for the 5-year deal to Christian Dvorak was that there are no centers available and the price for centers is going to be astronomical in the trade market.
Yeah.
So I don't even think it's a feasible thing.
Well, no, it's not feasible if you're talking about rentals. Like, you're not doing it for a rental. Yeah. They're not going to. I'll be as blunt as I can be. They're not trading for a rental player.
Correct.
So if you're making a trade, you're trading for a guy who's got term and can be part of this team beyond this year.
Term.
Right. I mean, the only way you're trading for a rental is if you're getting like the Eric Johnson types, where you're trading a late draft pick for a guy, whatever, to help the team. That's it. But as far as like impact, you would try and get a middle six center. You would try and get another left-handed defenseman because, as we talked about, Emil Andre has been a disappointment, right? And so you need somebody to play on the left side with Risto to make that line, that pairing good. And you need a backup goalie, right? Well, you do. I'm just saying.
You just need
These are the three. These are the three
of the hardest commodities to find on the trade market.
So I don't think they're the hardest commodities to find on the trade
Center
market.
is going to be hard.
Center is harder, but the other two not so much. But the point is that you need those three things. If you're Danny Briere, are you giving up assets, even if you're like right there in the race, for all three things? Or do you just say, boys, go out and do it? If you get in, great. If you don't, then we reassess in the offseason with what we have as our assets and then try and make the moves that we need to make then. Because to be fair, he had a good offseason last year.
He did.
Right? So if he has a similar type of offseason again, then your team's even better. And that's not saying that you're punting on making the playoffs, because I don't think they are. But I think that you are being a little bit more judicious now about it than maybe you would have been had Forster not gotten hurt, had Vladar not gotten hurt.
Sure, I think it's a totally different conversation, because then you're in a position of strength where it does seem like a greater chance than not you will be in the playoffs. Whereas right now, they're going to need mid to high 90 point probably to make it in. That's a lot of wins you have to rack up and a lot of loser points potentially.
Yeah. It can happen, but I mean, their schedule's not brutal.
I do want to get into this a little bit more. I saw this, though. Lord Olbermann says the company men won't have a bottoming out conversation. I don't know if that means us, but if that is the case, Lord Olbermann does not know me well. We'll get to that in a second, but first, I think we should talk about where we are, and we have another segment that we have to get to, all back to back. And
we got a lot of time.
I'm gonna need some shrimp. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're gonna try and do this. You're gonna try and do this during this read. Okay. All right. So I want to remind everyone that we are at.
Wait, hold on. Oh, okay. I am not going to eat faster than I normally do. I could house these in about a minute and a half.
You did it at Drexel Hill a few weeks ago. I looked over and you were done. So we'll see how fast this goes. But once again, we are at Chickies and Pete's out in beautiful Malvern, PA. We are at a different Chickies and Pete's every week here on Snow the Goalie Radio. And no matter the sports season, Chickies and Pete's has you covered. You can start your meal off with their mussels. They're great. Before you get into one of their burgers, I've had the barbecue burger here in the past. They have the ultimate tailgate. They have the Fightins burger. You can go out to any one of more than 17 locations, and be sure to check them out at the Xfinity Mobile Arena as well. They have 2 locations there, either in the East Food Hall or at the Southeast entrance in front of Section 103, which I think is right near where we are going to be for the carnival for the Flyers Carnival on Sunday, assuming we don't get bad weather. I will be down on the concourse, and we'll be doing our show there as well from 11 till 1:30-ish, a little after that. So be sure if you're going to the Carnival, stop by and say hello. And also go to Chickies and Pete's. So how you doing over there? You almost done? Oh, you want me to do more? I already did like my normal read. This is the second. There's 2 reads here. I did one. And I could do this. I'm supposed to do the second one at a later time. Okay, that's what I thought. That's where I thought you wanted me to go. You still haven't housed the shrimp. So it's time for our weekly Payroll Service Solutions Flyer of the Week. That's brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY. That's 1-866-PAY-EASY. Russ, I think this is a no-brainer. There have only been 2 games since our last radio show. One of them, they got shut out and nobody played well, so we got to completely just not include that one. And we got to look at the win in Colorado to find our player of the week. And it would be silly of us to not give it to Owen Tippett. Owen Tippett had a hat trick, his second career hat trick, a 4-point game in that game, easily his best game of the season. Had been playing pretty well for about a month now prior to the Islander game when nobody played well. Maybe he gets back on track tonight against the Blue Jackets. We shall see. But I would say pretty cut and dry. And Bundy texted the group. Yeah, he agreed with us, agreed with me at least, that Owen Tippett should be the player of the week.
Nah, Matvey Mishkov is the player of the week. That's not Tippett.
You're giving it to Mishkov.
I'd give it to Mishkov. Had his most impactful game of the season against Colorado. And as we all know, if this team is going to do anything of value, short-term, long-term, Mishkov is the most important player for them to get on track. I think it's Mishkov.
That's great. That's like when Rob Parent gave Sidney Crosby a 3rd star in an 8-3 Flyers win. And he was -4.
Mishkov had 2 goals in that game, right?
Yeah, well, one was an empty net. Okay. I mean,
still 2 goals. Hey, whenever I bring up the Travis Konechny doesn't score a lot of goals, you count the empty net.
No, but I'm saying it's hard for me to say that he had a better game than Owen Tippett. I'm not knocking his game. I thought he had a really good game. I thought it was one of his better games of the season.
Yeah,
Mishkov. I'm not trying to take it away from him, but to sit there and say that it was a better game than Owen Tippett, I don't know.
All right, there's 12 shrimp gone.
Yeah,
I did it.
You did good.
No.
You did. That was pretty fast.
No.
But since Bundy texted us and agreed with me, you're the minority report today.
That's fine.
And Owen Tippett, you are the Payroll Service Solutions Flyer of the Week. So congratulations to Owen Tippett. Once again, brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for the smart choice in payroll services. Payroll Service Solutions caters to the small and medium-sized business to handle all of your payroll needs. Call them once again at 1-866-PAY-EASY.
You know what we should do?
What's
we
that?
should print out a certificate, and then we should send intern down to the locker room after the next home game.
Yeah.
And have him present it. We'll take a picture.
You want? We're going to print out a Payroll Service Solutions certificate.
Yeah.
Like you used to give the
signed by those of us who awarded it to that player.
Yeah, there you go. And we'll send intern Andrew down there, who's over here on the 1s and 2s again, along with Gus, doing a great job as always.
It's an ever-growing team.
Yeah.
To help support this show.
It is. It is an ever-growing team. We'll send him down to the locker room.
I think it'd be fun.
The only thing is that if we ever give it to Bobby Brink, he's got to shake both hands.
Why both hands?
Because Bobby Brink shook his hand.
It shook his hand, but
he's got to
lefty shake.
He's got to do both.
That feels like
he's got to do both.
That feels like raising the bar a little bit.
That's a little bit too much.
Yeah,
it's a little bit too much. So let's talk about a letter, Russ, that went out today from the Flyers.
Hey, remind me.
Yeah.
Before this gets nasty, which it might. This offseason.
Yeah.
Did the Flyers set an expectation of the playoffs?
A letter?
Did they, no, I said this offseason. Did the Flyers explicitly set an expectation of the playoffs? Did Danny Briere, did Keith Jones, did Dan Hilferty, did any of them come out and say, our goal this year is to make the playoffs?
Not really.
No, they did not.
Not really. I mean,
they did,
but they didn't.
They maybe implied that they were ready to kind of take the next step.
Yeah.
But the playoffs were not explicitly touted. And it was, and I would argue that while Briere had a
Eventually they did.
Briere had a strong offseason.
Yeah.
But I would also argue that the moves that he made were fill some needs on a short-term basis,
and
they're not indicative of pushing chips in to be ready to go.
No, but
what
he did say at the beginning, before the season began, is we're not going to be sellers this year.
Did he? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to guarantee that you're pushing for the playoffs, but it also means that we're done that portion of trading off players. Like, we feel like we have the guys here that we want to grow the team with.
Okay,
that's what I think it was.
So here's an unfortunate, unforced error that happened, and it happened today.
I think this is where we may disagree on you may agree with me on what I view as the unforced error.
Sure.
I think you might take the unforced error a little bit further, but that's okay. All right. Well, go ahead.
So there was a letter sent out to season ticket holders.
Yeah.
And so we're going to read it here for the fine folks who listen after the fact in the podcast feed, or those who might not be able to see it on their respective screen. It's a bit of a long one. We'll try to get through it as quickly as possible.
Go ahead.
This was sent by Dan Hilferty. As we head into the final crucial months of the season, we want to thank you for being part of the momentum that drives this team forward. While we remain committed to building for long-term success, we are thrilled to be in a position where our sights are firmly set on playoff contention. That journey is never a straight line, but we're already seeing the rewards of the time and effort invested in this rebuild. We're now blending rising stars with leadership and an exciting group of new Flyers who have made an immediate impact, putting us in a position where every game matters as we go down the stretch. We're proud of the culture being built and the fight this team has shown under the leadership of Keith Jones, Danny Briere, and Coach Rick Tocchet. This team has fully embraced our vision and demonstrated what it means to play like a Philadelphia Flyer. From every shift on the ice to every moment off it, we're focused on building a sustainable culture of excellence. These moments matter, and they mean even more when we can share them with you. It is the passion and energy of season ticket holders like you that inspires our players and coaches to work harder, put team before self, and make our city proud. Your support and the home ice energy you bring add fuel to our fire. Xfinity Mobile Arena has never been louder. Well, technically it's the first year it's been Xfinity Mobile Arena, but I digress. And that's it, because the rest of it's just about re-upping for season tickets.
Yeah.
So they explicitly said in this letter, in the second paragraph there, we're thrilled to be in a position where our sights are firmly set on playoff contention.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I will say that where I think that the misfire here is not them saying that should be every team's goal every year. It really should. It should be every team's goal every year. And you're not going to tell players and coaches otherwise, and you're not going to say publicly otherwise. Uh-huh. So that I don't have a problem with that wording. What I have a problem with is the timing of this letter. Uh-huh. And I'm certain that the Flyers are going to come out and say, well, look, we have it all mapped out. It is the time of year for renewals that begins, between late January and late February. This is the time that they do it every year. So this is not a surprise that this is when it's coming. But you can pivot the day that you release it, right? And you coming off of a 4-0 home loss to the Islanders, to me,
where you showed no fight, no heart,
to me is not the game.
Where brick by brick is what people wanted to get whacked in the face with.
Well, that's not to me. That's coming off that game. That's not the game to put it out, right?
No.
If you put it out before that game, coming off of the road trip where you just got 5 points, you just beat the Colorado Avalanche, I'm like, okay, I'm fine. I'm all right with it. No complaints. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Losing that game Monday, I would have waited and see how they perform tonight, and then maybe put it out tomorrow. Now, I know you can't wait too long.
Sure.
You have to get the renewal started. I understand that. But you still should build in your plan the flexibility to identify the right moment to put that letter out.
Okay.
Right? And I think that's where I think they missed it a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? Is that fair to say?
I mean, I think the timing was bad. I think that any excuse that like, oh, this was just on our roadmap, this was on our
our
calendar.
I'm sure it was.
Read the room. Read the room.
I'm
People
sure
get paid. People get paid money to do PR, to work in communications, to do all this kind of stuff. Somebody's got to catch it.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to read the room. You have to see how. Look at the reaction to Monday's loss. Today was not the day.
I will tell you that I think, and I'm sure there might be some teams in sports that do this. I don't know of anybody who's got this official title, but there should be someone within their marketing department, and not just the Flyers, but every team, because I think other teams hit the same problem all the time too. There should be somebody in the marketing department who understands what you say, reading the room, understands the feeling, the vibe that's out there at the moment, who understands what the media is focused on at the moment, and knows how to advise the leadership of the organization. And I don't just mean the hockey operations; I mean the business operations, right? Everybody, and say to them, "Here's my take on it. You could choose not to listen to me if you don't want to, but at least consider what I'm saying to you." And I know that they do. I've worked there. I know that they do market research studies. I know that they have all this data, and they probably overdo it, and every team does. Again, like every team probably overdoes it a little bit. But it's really, we are now in an era where it's you got to understand that people live in the moment and don't necessarily live in the whole grandiose thing, grandiose operation. Back in the day, you were bought into the team more long term. Nowadays, it's not. It's all about.
Yeah, this isn't hard. I don't know.
It's all about
you're trying to like really make this like a softer kind of thing. This is like inexcusable. It's not complicated. You have your. I mean, it's not though. Like, ask. So here, you don't have to agree with me. Ask the people who are in the comments here, right? Many of whom will spend money this season to come out and see this team.
Yeah.
Many of whom may pay for season tickets.
Yeah.
Ask them if they felt like this was a.
Well, I just said it was a bad. I just said it was a bad.
There has to be a human being who goes, "Yo, we just got mollywopped. This ain't the time to put this statement out."
Right. I get that.
There has to be something.
And I'm in agreement with you, but I don't think it's inexcusable.
I just think it's
like, you know what I'm saying? Like they have a job to do.
Unfathomable that no one would catch it.
They have to sell their season
There was actually a good point here by Jordan who said,
I think we have a call, by the way.
Jordan said, how do you not rush that email after the Ducks game? That's a good question. Just given the importance of that game, and seriously, like if you're circling now, maybe it was too early, right, for renewals or whatever.
Yeah, it was a little early.
But you know what? Like there is a thing that goes out to the fans at that point. I don't know.
Yeah, and I say this because you think about it. The Ducks game when it was January 6th. You are 12 days after Christmas.
Yep.
That's not the time to ask for money.
Yeah.
It just isn't. And I mean, it makes a lot of sense what Jordan's saying. Like, sure, of course, that should be you should seize that opportunity if you could. It's just that the timing of it when it was. Sure. If that Ducks game was 2 weeks later, then yes, 100% you do it after the Ducks game.
All right, we have to go out to the line. I'm being told Randy is on the line. Randy, how are you doing?
Hi guys, I'm doing pretty well. I hope I'm not yelling at you.
No, you're fine. Where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Toronto, see?
Love it.
I like Toronto.
Up in TO.
And definitely not a Maple Leafs fan here.
Good.
Are you in TO proper, or are you out in like Mississauga or one of the? Like,
I'm in the East End, so I'm in Scarborough.
Scarborough. Okay, cool. Very cool.
I have no idea,
Russ,
but I like Toronto when I was up there last year.
Cool and pretend like you know where it is.
Yeah, I do. So Randy, I used to travel up there all the time, so I'm very familiar with Toronto.
Oh, there you go.
All the surrounding areas.
There you go. Yeah, I'm in the East End, so
yeah.
I'll tell you what.
For a bit of context.
Go ahead.
A bit of context. I'm originally from Western Canada.
Okay.
So I've been a Flyers fan for 50 years now.
Wow.
And I'm starting to get afraid that I'm going to be on the wrong side of the grass before we win another cup. So this is a big concern for me. So on that note, I hope you'll indulge me.
Sure.
I want to go back to the Robert Thomas thing for a moment.
Yeah.
Like, I understand what Ant is saying, that the price is, sky high right now, because it always is with a player like that. Mm-hmm. The first initial ask is always going to be like absurd, right? That's a price that nobody's going to ask or is going to pay. So I get that, but it'll come down eventually if they're serious about actually moving him.
That's the big question, Randy. Like there are people.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, from a Flyers fan perspective, he's perfect, right? He's 26 years old. I think he's only 6 feet tall, but he's heavy. He's about 210 pounds, so he's got decent size, and he can put up points, right? And this is the kind of player that we do need.
Yeah.
As everybody's aware of. So I guess my question is, if you will indulge me, is, I watch the show regularly. I appreciate the work you guys do, so thanks for that. You put in a lot of hours, and it's good stuff, so thank you. But what I've heard in the past is that, there's basically two untouchables. It's Martone and it's Michkov. Mm-hmm. And then we might say maybe Forrester.
Yep.
But typically what people say is it's those two guys, the two young guys.
Yep.
Younger guys. So let's say Robert Thomas actually is available, and they are willing to move him. If the Blues wanted a package centered around either Michkov or Martone, and then whatever else, does one of them then become untouchable if there's actually a deal to be made?
Is it wrong that I don't understand the hype
Would you
here?
move one of those guys?
I wouldn't.
So
I wouldn't for Robert Thomas.
Here's the great question, right?
And thank you for calling, by the way.
Yeah, thank you very much for the call, Randy. Here's the great question that I have. Would in any trade, I don't care who the player is that you're getting, mm-hmm. top line center, number one defenseman, whoever it would be. Would the fan base be okay with trading Matvei Michkov?
No.
Right. So it doesn't like
the only time this fan base I think could have stomached it would have been for Quinn Hughes, but it also would have been contingent on the contract, right? Because otherwise you have the Flyers fan base
Correct.
flipping their lids that you traded the franchise guy or what they perceive to be the franchise guy.
Right.
And there's the possibility that 18 months or whatever he walks. I do not see, no offense to Robert Thomas. Nice player.
Yeah, I like Robert Thomas.
Back-to-back 80-ish seasons. I think 86 points 2 years ago, 81 a season ago. He's on pace for around 65, 66 points this year. No, I don't even think for me, that's not even a conversation, right?
But that's what St. Louis wants plus.
I don't give a damn what St. Louis wants.
I'm just saying right now, St. Louis is asking for one of those guys plus.
Yeah, well, guess what? You can ask for anything.
I'm just saying that's why the Flyers.
I could ask for Anna de Armas's number. I'm not getting it.
That's what the Flyers.
I also
wouldn't
ask for it because I love my wife. But it ain't happening. I don't know what we're doing here. I think Robert Thomas is a good player. If you could make a deal for a Robert Thomas, and in doing so, maybe it costs you part of what that Quinn Hughes package would have, right? Maybe it costs you one of the two centers in the minors, a Lachenko, a Nesbitt. It costs you a roster player. Maybe it's a Tippett or it's a Forster. Maybe it also costs you a defenseman at the NHL level, a Cam York. Would I make that trade and maybe a pick?
And a first-round pick.
I would do that because then you're certainly not putting 1C expectations on Robert Thomas, right? Which I think is fair. I don't know if he's really like a bona fide stud number 1C that you build around. But at worst, if he's a really strong 2C or like a 1.5C, well, then it's an improvement. But if you're St. Louis, why would you accept the slab of misfit toys that we just kind of agreed we'd be willing to trade?
Yeah.
And there will be a team that'll overpay, probably. If they're serious about moving him, there will be a team out there that'll overpay, almost without a doubt.
But not for what they're asking for.
No.
And I'm not convinced that St. Louis wants to trade him.
Yeah.
I think that they're just kind of gauging. I think his
He's
name
a
got out there.
26-year-old center that could put up 80 plus points.
I think his name got out there just to kind of get a feeler, right? What is his value right now? That's I think what you're looking at there. But I look, if that price came down to something more palatable that didn't include Martone or Michkov, then I'm with you.
Tippett, York,
I'm on board.
Lachenko, and a first. Sure. Have at it. Because you've hurt yourself on the blue line a little bit by getting rid of York.
Yeah.
You're trading a player that I don't think fits in Tippett for a center. You're getting rid of a prospect that I don't believe in Lachenko. You're getting rid of a pick. there's a little bit of pain in there. I don't think there's nearly enough pain if you're the Flyers.
There's a little bit of pain. You're right about that.
There's some
a little
pain,
bit of pain,
but not enough.
But not, yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Let me flip this to you. One of the guys, and listen, when Saravalli was on the show weeks ago, the name that he brought up is the same one that I brought up to you when it was, I thought, an inflection point. I really did. Do you extend Travis Konechny? Do you trade Travis Konechny? Right? And I said, if you're serious about a rebuild, you trade Travis Konechny, you get the assets in, and you say, we are really kind of starting over, but like that is a high value asset. Is there a trade to be made where a team looks at Konechny, they view him as a somewhat distressed asset? He's having an okay season. It's not a bad season. He's on pace for 80-ish points.
I don't think it's a distressed asset at all.
Do you look at it and say, if a team comes in and maybe doesn't blow your socks off but gets you close to it, do the Flyers have that conversation? Like if the bottom starts to fall out here before the trade deadline and they get an offer that is significantly better than what they might have in the past.
Not at the deadline.
You don't think so?
Not at the deadline.
Okay.
I just don't see players like that moving at the deadline. This doesn't really happen. Could now, if that was in the off season, I could, if a team's knocking my socks off, sure.
Okay.
But not the trade deadline. I just don't think it happens at the deadline.
Okay.
So.
I just think it's an interesting name.
Yeah. Well, I mean, certainly is an interesting name.
By the way, speaking of interesting names,
yeah,
there was somebody over in the comments, and I wanted to give a shout out here real quick.
Yeah.
And I hope I can find it in enough time here before we go off the air. But there was somebody who was here in Chickies and Pete's who was new to the show, and they gave us a shout and said that we have now become their favorite Flyers podcast.
Well, that's good.
That was like, I think, here we go. Patrick Gallagher over on YouTube says, just left Chickies. Who knew my weekly happy hour would have me find my new favorite pod?
Awesome.
See?
Good stuff. Thanks, Patrick.
Even get a shout.
Hey, tonight, Russ, is the 5,000th Philadelphia Flyers game in history. Mm-hmm. And I know we only have 3 minutes here before the show wraps up.
Can't you dictate terms? Can't you get us another 5 minutes? Like, what's going on over here?
I can do whatever I want.
Oh,
it won't go over the radio, but we can keep going on the stream if we really wanted to. Right.
We'll just go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
But I wanted to. I did put a few things together that I wanted to say. It's a little bit late, so we may not get to them all.
Well, no, then we'll plan on going to overtime. When 7 o'clock hits, Gus and Andrew will let us know that we're going to sign off from the radio. We'll stay here for overtime for a few minutes.
For like 5 minutes.
Over on the stream. So it gives an added benefit.
A
value add to those who join us over on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of look at, 5,000 games. It's a lot of games. Mm-hmm. And I just kind of wanted to, look at a couple categories and kind of throw them your way. And see if we come up with anything. What would you say is the of the 5,000? What would you say is the best game? And I know you can easily say winning the Stanley Cup, winning the second Stanley Cup.
Yeah,
they're the easy.
My
ones,
parents
right?
didn't even know each other then.
I was 4 months old for the first one.
Wow. I got to be honest. Like I think back to some of the playoff games. I do. I think of the playoff magic for JR, that call.
Yeah, against Toronto. That was a great one. It was a great game. Great series. Great game.
I think that's definitely there. I think the super long game. The
5 overtime.
5 overtime game, I think, is up there.
Yep.
I would make a case that because of the theatrics, you know what? No. I'll tell you what. I think that the series against Boston in its entirety in 2010.
Well, sure.
I can't give you.
Well, you would have to go Game 7. I mean, Game 7 itself down 3-0, and to come back and win 4-3.
Yeah, I think that's very clearly up there as well.
Yeah, yeah. I'll give you mine, and then we'll do the overtime.
Okay.
The one that I put up there, Game 6 of the 1987 Finals against Edmonton.
Okay.
Where they win 3-2, down 2-0 in the third period, score. Or in the second period, score 1 in the second, 2 in the third, and then at the end of the last 5 minutes, Edmonton gives you all they have, and Hextall makes save after save after save. Like it was incredible. If you're a young fan, if you've not watched it, look it up on YouTube. Watch Game 6, 1987. It is one of the best hockey games you'll find. And just add on to that, the Game 7 they lose in Edmonton. There's a 1-hour documentary on that.
Okay.
On
really
Amazon
quick,
Prime.
All of you who are listening on the radio on WBCB, thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week at Chickies and Pete's in Marlton, New Jersey.
Marlton, New Jersey.
Marlton, New Jersey next week. So big thank you to everybody who's listening on WBCB. The rest of you, We're about to go into overtime here on Snow The Goalie. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, but there is a Game 7 documentary on Amazon Prime. Yeah. We can hear the radio now in our ear, in our headset. So the Game 7 on Amazon Prime, it's all about a bunch of Game 7s in all sports, but their second episode in that series is about Flyers Edmonton 1987. Okay. So that one I think is huge series, but that Game 6 was something.
Okay.
Worst game. What do you think the worst game was?
Anytime that how about I want to say Monday, January 26th, 2026, the Flyers lost a 4-0 game, what turned out to be a 4-point game against the New York.
Well, so there was a couple that I thought about.
You know what it was? The Rangers game 3 years ago, right? It was the Rangers game when the Rangers fans took over the Wells Fargo Center.
Bad. Yeah, that was pretty
bad. And we looked around and we're like, they have lost the plot. The organization, the people who were in charge at that point.
That's fair.
Lost the plot.
That's a good one.
And you have a New York fan base that was like unbelievably outnumbered.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Flyers fans.
I will tell you that some that I thought of. I thought about getting eliminated in the playoffs by Buffalo in 2001 when they lost 8-0. I thought that one was pretty bad. 2003, my favorite headline of the Daily News in its history was when they got eliminated again by Buffalo. It always seems to be Buffalo.
Yeah.
They lost the game 5-1 in 2003 on Cinco de Mayo, and the headline the next day is just a net with the puck going in it. It's an empty net with the puck going in it, and the headline is Stinko de Flyo.
Yep.
And that was when Roman Czechmanek lost his mind, started yelling at his teammates. And the subhead on that headline was Roman, but spelled Roamin, and company put up no resistance.
You know what I think? Obviously the most gutting loss, I have two.
Yeah.
I have the loss to Tampa in
04.
In 04.
Yeah.
At my 8th grade prom. And the DJ,
yeah.
I think it was DJ Ray. He was kind of weird, kind of creepy. He came on over the speaker and said the Flyers had lost to the Lightning. Very sad. The girl that I wanted to dance with asked me to dance, and I kind of chickened out. Not a great night for me. The real worst one was the Stanley Cup loss, the Patrick Kane goal.
Yeah,
I was laying on a bed in Berlin, and I didn't have a way. We're not going to say that I tried to illegally stream the game in Germany, but I may or may not have found a website to try to watch it, and it would keep crapping out. And at that point, it was like 3 a.m. over there, and I fell asleep very briefly. And when I woke up, I opened my eyes, and I saw the Blackhawks celebrating on the ice, and I wanted to die. Yeah. I wanted to cry.
But you know what I came up with is the worst loss? Because I think it was more than just the Flyers playing bad. I think it was the worst look for the Philadelphia fans as well. And look, the Flyers fans have been great over the years. There's the times they gave the standing ovations for Mario Lemieux for his last game. Really, Flyers fans are sensational. But the one time that they weren't, and I think this kind of coincides with as poor as the game was on the ice, was when they lost in 2016 to the Washington Capitals, and the bracelets get thrown onto the LED bracelets get thrown onto the ice. When you have Lou Nolan going over the loudspeaker, show some class.
Yeah,
like that's when it's gone too far. And I think so. Like to me, that was the worst game. That was the worst game. We talked about this one on the phone before the show, so I'm going to let you kind of take it. It's really kind of a good one. Best individual performance by an opponent.
Mika Zibanejad.
Yeah.
Zibanejad had a 6-point game.
Yeah.
3 goals.
3 assists.
3 assists. And what made it worse is that it wasn't a one-off against the Flyers.
Yes, that's the thing. So, like, my argument, I know everybody say, and it's hard to argue Mario Lemieux, 8-point game in the playoffs in 1989, 5 goals, 3 assists. Like, you can't argue that. That's
an incredible
individual effort.
Yeah.
But it was a wild game. It was 10-7. It was in an era when offense was all over the place. So, as great as that was, Zibanejad 3-3. Say, okay, that's a great game, but it's all right. It's a regular season game, except that he did the same thing a week earlier in New York.
Yep.
So it was twice in 6 days or 7 days
that he put up 6 points against the Flyers.
I said today to someone, The only thing I can think of in sports that matches that is Johnny Vandermeer throwing back-to-back no-hitters in 1938 in baseball.
Oh, I remember me.
Well, no, but I'm just saying, like, that's how rare
Oh, yes.
back-to-back 6-point games against the same team, right?
I remember my father looked at me.
It's not about. I don't remember it.
The world
Obviously,
was in
it's
black and white.
It's knowing about the history of the game.
We drank the hot dog water. We didn't have money for the bottled water. We would eat the hot dog. We drank the water.
Favorite regular season game? I bet we have the same one. No, I'm going to let you do it.
Go ahead.
March 5th, 2004.
Yes.
Flyers, Senators.
The brawl for
the
all.
The brawl.
I mean, incredible.
419 penalty minutes in the game. I think it was 13 players ejected from there, or something like that.
Yep.
It was just, and then even afterwards, it gets even better. So all that stuff happens on the ice with all the fighting. And the story behind that is they had played a week earlier in Ottawa.
Yep.
And Martin Havlat had swung his stick at Mark Recchi's head. All right. And the Flyers were pissed. Mm-hmm. And so they were up 5-2 in the third period of this game, 2 minutes to go. And they're waiting for Havlat to come on the ice because they're going to give him his, retribution.
Yep.
And Jacques Martin, the coach of the Ottawa Senators, wouldn't put him out. And so they started fighting everybody else. And Hitch just kept sending one guy after another. And it was a fight every 2 seconds. And they kept yelling over to the bench. And then finally he sends Havlat on to serve a penalty.
Yep.
So he doesn't even play. So he's in the penalty box. So after the game's over, there's up in the press box, you get on the elevator and go down to go do the interviews. They hold the elevator. We can't get on because Clark's going down. He leaves the box, and he is fuming. He gets on that elevator. We follow him down. We go over. He rushes to the Ottawa locker room. Now, he doesn't get in. He's out in the hallway, and there's some people holding him back. But he's screaming for Jacques Martin to come out of the Ottawa locker room to yell at him. And Martin won't come out, and he finally calls him a gutless puke, among other things. But that was the thing that I remember the most, was he called him a gutless puke. And it was absolutely sensational. There was a fight between a Canadian cameraman and Ed Moran from the Philadelphia Daily News that was in the locker room. It was a feisty night.
We need one of those.
By far my favorite regular season game to ever cover.
Yeah.
By far. Best individual performance by a Flyer. Do you have one you can think of?
No.
So, I mean, there's...
I seem to remember, how, sometimes you have a player that you watch, and even if it's a guy who doesn't have that long of a career, you just kind of, you have this, ideal version of what that player was. I will always look at the Jágr year, and I will always look at the Forsberg tenure, as those guys did magical things. And I don't even know if I look back at the box score, if it was as magical as it felt, but when those two guys played here, I feel like
Forsberg's the start to that 05-06 season, I think he had 45 points in 20 games or something.
Insane.
It was something insane.
It was something
he was so incredible at that point. The one that I picked, and it's not a game where somebody put up a ton of points. I mean, you can Tom Bladen has a team record, 8 points in a game. I know Lindros had a 7-point game in Ottawa. Rick McLeish had a 7-point game. You can look at those and say, okay, yeah, those, because if you're counting based on counting stats. The game that impressed me the most was going back to the Tampa series in 2004. Keith Primo in Game 6 was one of the most, and he did it with a concussion.
He did.
One of the most unconscious games I've ever seen a player have, and he was so good. And the sad thing from that is they lose Game 7. He only had 9 more games in his career because of that concussion that he was playing with in 04.
Primo, oddly enough, doesn't get the kind of respect that he should as an all-time Flyer.
Well, you got to remember, he's the guy. He's a guy that kind of became the captain after Lindros, really. I mean, I know Desjardins was kind of in there in between, but really it was.
I think Primo deserves a lot more love.
Yeah, and I think it was kind of a tough spot for him to be in.
Yeah.
When that happened, so that's probably why he doesn't get the respect. But that was mine for best individual performance.
Is this the last one now?
I have 2 more.
Oh my god.
Best performance by a goalie.
I'm going to give it to Ilya Brizgalov in the scrum, where he talked about many things, including humongous.
So obviously, you could once again go Bernie in either of the cup clinchers. He pitches a shutout in both of them, right? And then there was actually a game Bernie had in the playoffs in '68, the first year of existence. Get this, Russ. He stopped 62 of 63 shots in an overtime game. But Bernie was, only the Lord saves more than Bernie Perrine. Like that, you could pick any number of Bernie games. I got to go with Bush in the 5 overtime game against Penguins. 57 saves out of 58 shots. I mean, you in essence played 3 games in one night as a goalie. It's one thing to be a skater, right, and play in all those games, but you're a goalie in full pads on the ice for that whole time, and you only gave up 1 goal.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Ron Tugnutt had a great game for the Penguins too, but I think that Bush's game, that one to me stands out. And the last one, this is fun, best post-game interview. What do you think?
I want you to go first, and then I'll give you.
I could have gone with any number of Hitch post-game interviews because he was great. There was one time he walked off without taking a question. Yeah. He came and stood at the podium for 3 seconds and walked away. I thought that was funny. There was one time where people may remember they're playing a game against the Penguins, and Max Talbot was on the Penguins at the time and shot a puck from his own blue line, and it got past Antero Niittymaki into the net. And the question in the first question in the press conference to Hitch was, so what did you see on that goal by Talbot? And Hitch looked at us and went, a hell of a lot more than Nitty.
So that was the one for you?
That was not it. No, the one for me is anything Brizgalov. I mean, you name it. Anything. There was the time with the Lost in the Woods without a compass.
Yep.
There was a time where he said, guys, can't you just leave me alone and let me play the hockey? That was a great one. There was a time when Randy Miller wrote a story that not Randy Miller, Frank Sarvalli had wrote a story that he was told that Brizgalov fell asleep in a team meeting, and Brizgalov said, you better check your sources. This is unprofessional journalism. Mm-hmm. Like all that stuff. You name it, Briz. This one wasn't a post game, but the Winter Classic, when he announced to me that he wasn't going to be in, he was not going to play. Yeah.
The bad news is I am not in goal. The good news is that I'm not in goal.
No, the good news. I got good news and better news.
That's right.
Good news is I'm not playing.
The better news is we have a chance to win.
And then he went off on a tangent about the thermos and New Year's Eve parties in Russia and bears in woods, and it was just
what a guy.
It was out of control. It was an unbelievable press.
All right, ask me for mine.
What's yours?
I'm not answering your questions.
Nah, it's not that.
As I expected.
It's not that. Not him. You know what my favorite one is? And this is because you and I, once upon a time, wrote for Crossing Broad.
Yeah.
And I always like when people hold the media accountable. And nothing was funnier than when we were in the midst of the COVID season. I think you were dying or something, right?
Yeah.
And this was a point of contention at the time. You were kind of dying in the hospital. It was very sad. I was very emotional. And then
you were the one who announced it publicly, by the way.
With your blessing, I think.
Yeah, I believe so, yes.
It was with your family's blessing or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, you lived, which was good. I go down to cover the game, and I'm writing a game recap, and I realize it's super late, and there were only 15 of us or whatever that were allowed in the building, right, press-wise, and then there were a few workers in the building,
mm-hmm.
and so I'm there doing the game, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna drive home. I'll finish the game recap there. And while I'm packing up, I'm listening to the Zoom call. And it's the game where Mike Sealski asks a question.
Yep.
And Jake Voracek says, it doesn't matter what I say. You're going to go write your bleeping bleep anyway. I wasn't even going to answer you. You're such a weasel.
Yeah.
That led to a whole big thing, right? That eventually led to, I think, Mike Sealski calling to complain because I said something about lying, or there was something about a tweet and there was a headline and all this wonderful stuff. That to me was quintessential. There's a player who is fed up and because of everything that was going on in the world had no filter left, and it was a wild moment and we haven't seen it since.
Yeah. I can still remember getting that text from Sealski. Ant, how you feeling? Hope you're doing better. What's up with your boy Russ?
Yep. Well, Voracek didn't like Sealski because Sealski wrote the thing about how apparently Voracek laughed or whatever when Vigneault was saying something to the press.
Exactly.
And then he kind of doubled down on it. He put a tweet. I mean, listen, I kept receipts. This is the thing. You don't want to mess with me. When it comes to the interwebs and the things that you put out there, I will keep the receipts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
As Landros points out, do you remember Konechny's reaction when that was happened?
He was like,
yeah.
Yeah, it was a pretty wild ride. And then the reason that it was so funny too is on the drive home, I was getting chewed out because Kyle, who was running the site still at the time, was like, how didn't you do a post about this? I was like, oh, well, I was down there doing the thing. I was doing the game recap. It was a whole big thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And now here we are.
Here we are. Anyway, that's what I got. So game 5,000 tonight. Sure it'll be a fun one. I know we don't talk about the game. Russ doesn't like to talk about the game.
We're at the end of the show, so it's okay.
Oh, okay. We can do it now?
We can do it now.
Okay. What do you got for tonight?
Blue Jackets have won, was it 7 of 8?
Something like that.
6 out of 7 or whatever?
Yeah.
I think that we're in a good spot to see the Fly guys lean a lot on Vladar, and I'm not sure that he's going to be able to get the job done, but because I trust in Darth Vladar, I am going to go Flyers 3-2. I actually think they're going to lose pretty badly. I think 5-1 is more likely, but I'm going to say 3-2 Flyers.
Yeah, and Bundy went 5-4, I think it was. Am I correct on that? Yes, 5-4 Flyers. I'm going with the Flyers as well because of Vladar, and they need to show something off of that embarrassment the other night. If they lose tonight, it changes. To me, it changes a lot on the outlook for this team. So I'm going Flyers 4-3 tonight in Columbus. And what was interns? Did he text you?
4-2 Flyers.
Oh, we all went Flyers. Last time we did that, they got shut out by the Islanders. That's not good.
You know, it is fitting. Do you see what the name of the episode was today? In need of direction.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. If they lose tonight, and especially if they lose in like decisive fashion,
yeah,
I think it fundamentally changes everything about going into the break, into the deadline.
Yes.
You will have not buried yourself in a real deep hole, but you're pretty damn close.
Yeah, it's a very important.
Is it hyperbolic to say that tonight is a must win if they want to make the playoffs?
I mean, if you get a loser point, probably not must win, right? But you have to have a showing tonight, for sure, for sure. Yeah, but that's it, Russ. That's all I got. So that was a good overtime. We went 15 minutes over. That's good.
Yep. Make sure you pay the guys over here.
Yeah, Gus and intern Andrew have to get some extra coinage tonight.
See, I fight for you guys. How about that?
Yeah,
ain't my money. All right. Well, a big thank you to everybody who joined us at Chickies and Pete's in Malvern. A big thank you to everybody who joined us over on YouTube and Facebook and X. Those of you who listen after the fact in the podcast feed on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcasts. I think it's time to roll out. You and Bundy are back on Saturday.
Yes.
From Xfinity Mobile Arena.
Assuming there's no snow.
I didn't see snow in the forecast now. I looked today and I saw none.
Yeah,
it went from 3 inches on Sunday to nothing. So
yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. But in theory, Saturday, a game. And then Sunday, we will be down at Xfinity Mobile Arena for, I think, an 11 o'clock start is when we're going to start the show.
And intern Andrew is going to be in the
dunk tank.
In the dunk tank. And you know what the best part about this is?
What?
They're putting out a promotional thing to show all the people that are going to be in the dunk tank. They asked me for his headshot. So he's going to be on some kind of promotional thing as going to be in the dunk tank for the carnival.
How about that?
Isn't that great?
I think it's pretty great. You know what I bought?
They didn't put you or me when we did it.
You know what I bought?
What's that?
I bought a couple of those like little wireless mics. So I think I'm going to do
I'm
going to do a roaming Russ on the show.
I like it.
On Sunday.
Good, you walk, and me and Bundy will hold down the fort.
I'll get my steps. I will walk around the building. Maybe I'll interview some fans. Maybe I'll go find a couple of players that are doing some things and try to snag them for 30 seconds. I keep being told that the players are very booked. They're very busy. But nobody said that I can't follow them from activity to activity. So I may just hijack the entire event and go find some players and pick their brains for 30 seconds at a time. You just never know.
Yeah.
We always say you never know who to expect on the Press Row Show. You never know who to expect on Snow the Goalie. So join us on Sunday for the hilarity as well.
It'll be fun. It'll be a good time.
All right.
That's it.
A wonderful, wonderful night. A big thank you to everybody who tuned in. And we will talk to each and every one of you later this week here on Snow the Goalie. Have a great night, everybody.